Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, welcome back to my second channel. Right, today I'm going to discuss some books that I've read recently, as in the past few months, ish, that have kind of disappointed me. And these aren't just ones that maybe I didn't like, but kind of ones I had expectations going in, or for example, the first 50% was really good and then it just went downhill for me. So, we're going to be talking, and yes, for the first time, I'm finally going to discuss The Crown of Gilded Bones. But we're going to do that last, and discuss why that really, yeah, I know, that, Jennifer. We got a couple here and the rest are ebooks. Okay, where do we begin? Now, I have not prepared for this video at all. And I might have forgotten some very major plot points, but I'm going to try and remember why I didn't like these books. Let's start with this one. This is The Last Kiss Goodnight by Jenna Showalter. It's my first Jenna Showalter book, and apparently, from what I heard, she's really good, like the queen of paranormal romance, and they're really dark and spicy and sexy, and I was like, yes, give me all of that. Let's have a look at Jenna. Let's see what she's doing. This probably wasn't the best one to start with. So we follow Solo and Vika, and basically Solo is captured because he's another worldly being and sent to this zoo, put in a cage, and Vika's father owns this zoo. And she is tasked with looking after all these otherworldly beings, and they're just there on show for humans to come and pet and poke at them and look at them and laugh at them and be like, oh, aren't you weird and strange? So he's kept in a cage, as you can see on the front cover. The front cover is really nice. And it started off really good. I really enjoyed the premise of it. And all she wants to do, her father is so horrible. Content warning right now, trigger warning for parental abuse. It's really bad. He's really messed up, and the things he does to her, physically and mentally, it's just really horrible. So I was really getting into it. It had a really dark, gritty undertone. So I was enjoying it, but then there was no spice. It went on and went on and went on and went on, and they spent far too much time, I feel. This is a big book. This, well, it's not big, but for the genre, it's big. For a fantasy, paranormal romance, it's over 430 pages long. That's a lot. It's a chunky girl for a fantasy romance, but I've read plenty of them before and they've been great. Problem was, I think I had different expectations of this author, which we'll discuss in a minute, and I found out maybe why this wasn't the best one to start with. But yeah, it went on and on and on. It didn't need to spend so much time with what they were doing, and then there was no spice. It was a slow burn, which I love, but then it was going on and nothing was happening and nothing happening, and when they finally do, right at the end, it was so pretty much off page. It wasn't off page, but it lasted a paragraph, and it was very wham bam thank you ma'am, and it's done. It's I just read the whole thing, and where was the spice? Where was the heat? So yeah, I was really disappointed, but when I went to Goodreads, a lot of people who are a big fan of Jenna's work said that when she published this just before, apparently she'd been going through a horrible time in her life and she'd found faith. And I didn't even really pay much attention, but at the start of every chapter there's a Bible verse, which I found a bit odd, but I just eventually just started ignoring them. So everyone's it's great that she's found, her own faith and just got through this time. But they've noticed with her work that now suddenly she doesn't do the dark, gritty, really sexy, smutty-ness that she normally does. And they were that's really a shame, and they didn't know, and they were basically just all chatting, very respectfully by the way, whether her newfound faith has meant that she doesn't write smut anymore. So please let me know about Jenna, should I go from before this book, or all the books after this one? Because when was this published? Are all the books after this one very low steam, low spice? Because, I'm not down for that. 2013. So let me know if you've read plenty of her books. Give me the dark, gritty, really sexy, spicy ones. Because that is what I love. So, that was a long time talking about that. I am so sorry. So yeah, I was very disappointed. But I will give her another shot. But just please help me out down below. Which one should I go for? Oh, The Shield Maiden's Secret by Wendy by Wendy. I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce your last name. This is a little Viking romance. It was a short novella. It's on Scribd, the audiobook and the ebook. So I listened to it, I was yeah, I'm fancying a little short, sexy Viking romance. Because Vikings, hello. I've never read a Viking romance before, but it was so... Look, she's all about, she wants to be a shadow maiden, so she has to dress up as a boy, cut her hair off, to get into to get onto the boat, to go and explore and pillage and things like that, and she just wants to own her own boat and have her own people and go and explore new land. So she has to dress up as a boy, and she really likes one of the Vikings in the town. Anyway, so she gets really close to him, but she's still being a boy, and then when it all comes out, it's it was just so sweet and not sexy at all. And then it was over. I was hold on, this brutal, brooding, tall Viking is just so sweet and kind and loving, and that's fine. Like, I love that in a hero, but like there's no more, there's no grittiness or like toughness to him. So yeah, I was really disappointed. It was like so like low spice, it was unbelievable. So I was really disappointed in that one. I read Bound by Vengeance by Cora Riley. I don't think Cora Riley's for me. I listened to this because apparently this is one you could just listen to as a standalone because she has a Born in Blood and then the Kimura Chronicles or something like that. Anyway, I don't know if I'm going to read them, even though they're all on script, the audiobooks. This one is about Growl, and which is his nickname, and I can't remember the heroine's name for the life of me. And it's a mafia romance, and basically Growl is given this woman from one of the families as a gift. It's like, here you go, have her, and they all think this is going to be hilarious because he's going to absolutely wreck her, ruin her, just like destroy her. That's how Growl's seen, as this just like unfeeling, brutal, like enforcer, like killer guy. So I liked the premise, that was fine, I enjoy a good mafia moment. However, it was the pacing of this one that really threw me because I really started to enjoy it where it was going. So Growl takes her to his home, but then where their relationship went, it felt like it started to just drag, and there were so many good opportunities for pacing they could have changed, but I was like holding out for, you know, they were having sex and stuff, but Growl wouldn't like let her in and they wouldn't share a bed and things, and I just felt like it kept going on and on a bit, and I was like, can we get some character development in here and a big relationship development, because I'm kind of getting over it and I'm a bit bored. So I really enjoyed the premise, but I just don't feel like, for me, it was executed well. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was fine, but it wasn't the best, and I had hoped for a lot more from the beginning. All right, next one, A Promise of Fire by Amanda Bouquet. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. The first 50% of this book I adored, as in I would post on Instagram like, can't put it down, can't put it down. And the author is so lovely, like she was like reposting my stories, which makes me feel really bad for saying this, but I'm not gonna carry on the Kingmaker Chronicles series. So there's different magic in like the north of this world and the south of this world, and Kat is basically on the run and she's living with a circus because she has all of these like cool, crazy powers, and she's trying to keep them in check. So she goes to this traveling circus, they go around, you know, as they do, perform for people, they get paid money, and that's where she's hiding out. Now this warlord from, I think he's from the north, he could be from the south, anyway, he's from a part and where they don't really have much magic, and he's trying to find her because he knows about her somehow. Gets to the circus, finds her, basically captures her, ties a magic rope around her so they are connected the whole time, so she can't run away, she can't sever the rope, nothing. And it was like a really interesting premise. Like, I've read Captor Captives so many times. You can tell in the reviews on Goodreads, the people who haven't read that much dark romance or mafia romance, and they're like, oh my god, he kept her as a captive. I'm like, yeah, and? It was fine, it was going on. However, 2 big problems. First 50%, I was really into it, really digging the romance where it was going. She was annoying me a little bit, Kat, but I was getting over it, all right? It was fine. But then, like, 2 big problems. One, I'm not gonna spoil much here, but it's like her magic made no sense. It's like, how many abilities does she have? And like, how and why? And it's just so, it felt so much like, oh, she's just discovering she can do pretty much anything with her powers? Is that it? Like, she's this powerful and she can do that and then this and then that. And it was just like a lot to take in with her magic. I was like, okay, but we're gonna keep it going, you know, we'll probably get some explanations. But then her internal monologue in terms of the romance that was developing, like enemies to lovers, as we've talked about this before, it gets to a point where it's like, shut up. It's like, you either make a decision, you either want to be together, you want to be with him, and you like him or you're falling for him, or you don't. Make your decision instead of literally flopping back constantly in this, oh, utter, insane internal monologue that she had. I wanted to reach through the pages and slap her silly. Oh, wow. Yeah, she was doing my goddamn head in. You know what? And I even felt sorry for our hero at one point. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry you have to deal with this. I mean, you did capture her. You technically should be the bad guy here. But I'm kind of feeling sorry for you at this point. So yeah, I'm not going to carry on. I was so disappointed because halfway through I was like, this is a 5-star read, this is a 5-star read, and the stars just started dropping off. Annoying heroine internal monologues will just do it, won't they? Oh, such a shame. But I would read more from that author because it was well written, and I really liked it. I just don't think that story was for me. I think it was just starting to bug me a bit too much. All right, what else we got? What else we got? Hell on Earth by Brenda K. Davies. Oh, it's sad to say this because I loved her Road to Hell series, which is a 4-book series. I really love that with River and Cobalt, and this is kind of like the next book, the next series after, which has some of the same characters in it. So they carry on with different plots and romances and stuff like that, but it just didn't hit right. I don't know what it is when you get like, have you ever read a series and then you realize there's a spin-off series with a couple of characters from that one, but it just, you love the first one so much that just nothing will compare. You know what I mean? It's like the first one is all about hell breaking open, one of the gates, like ripping open onto Earth, demons going everywhere, you get a time jump, Kobold, like the lord of the demons and should be king of hell kind of thing. Anyway, they're all trying to help, trying to close the seal to keep everything in hell and yada yada. It takes 4 books and it's great, it's sexy, it's fun, a bit repetitive, but fantastic. I devoured the books and I'd read them again and again. It's just them kind of books. So when you go on to different characters for a spin-off, I don't know if I just loved the first character so much, and because it was in the same world, I just couldn't connect again. And I didn't like the pacing of it either in the first book. So yeah, sad, but I still love Brenda K. Davies. I'm not going to continue that series. Now, I loved Priest by Sierra Simone. I loved that. It's a lovely taboo romance about a priest, Tyler and Poppy, about a priest who falls in love with a woman and he shouldn't. And things like that, and it's sexy. Didn't like where the story went. I actually only give it 3.5 stars. It was super sexy. Didn't like where the plot went and the decisions that were made, but I still finished it. I enjoyed it. The second half did lay down, but I really enjoyed it. Anyway, so I read Sinner, which is about Tyler's brother, and he meets up with a girl, he really likes her for a night, and like he goes back to this convent because there's problems, and he's working with like construction, or they overtake buildings. Anyway, there's some bad press. He has to go to this convent and then opens it up and realizes that she was a trainee nun. He's like, oh my god. And she's like, before I become a nun, I want you to give me all of the experiences. I was like, that's, we got some taboo. It's all within the religious field. And he was like, okay, I can do that. We can do that. I was like, okay. Problem was, every sexy scene, should I say, I DNF'd this at, what was it, 75%. DNF'd it because it was like, I understood that he wanted to like take her through like the motions of different things that they were doing and discuss and have open communication throughout it, which, we love to see, especially if it's like her first time or something. But it was like literally like listening to a biology lesson, because he was just talking in so much detail about everything that's happening, everything that's going to happen. I was like, it just ruined, every sexy scene was ruined, and it felt like I was in a lecture. Everything was detailed so much. I was like, can you shut up and do it? Maybe. It sounds really bad, but apparently that's a common consensus when I read the reviews after, when I decided to DNF it. So yeah, I just in the end didn't care. I was just so uncaring about this relationship that I didn't really want to bother finding out what happened, which is a shame. But there we go. I talked about this one in my DNF video, but I'm going to bring it up here, and that's Love in the Wild, which is a Tarzan retelling, and that was by Emma Castle. DNF'd it around 50-55%. So it's a Tarzan retelling. Most of us know the story of Tarzan. Girl goes in, finds a man who has been raised by the animals there. Started off really well, really interesting, never read a Tarzan retelling. And they met, and it was literally like within 24 to 48 hours they were in love, they had sex, and then she had to leave, and it was just like a lot. It was just like, we all hate insta love, but this was so much like one day together, they do everything, and they fall in love, and you're like, okay. So I actually didn't finish it. I was so annoyed at that point. I was like, it's just not realistic. It's not realistic. Why do the insta love thing? I mean, I can deal with some insta lust, like instant attraction, instant like, I would get into your pants kind of thing. But insta love, they were like, yeah, we love each other. Shut up. Oh, you don't. Okay. The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer Armentrout. Right. This is the third book in the Blood and Ash series. We all know I loved book 1 and 2. Both gave them 5 stars, even though there were things that I had a problem with in both books. But you know when you just love a book, you don't care. You read the reviews, you read the 1-star reviews, you read the 5-star reviews, and you understand both sides equally. You're like, yes, I love that too. That's a good point. That was probably, that was some bad writing there or whatever. You're like, I'm still giving it 5 stars because I just fucking loved it. I gave this 3.5. I almost DNF'd this book and I never told you. I had the audiobook pre-ordered, started listening to it, and I actually put it down because I realised I was so bored and I didn't care. And it took me, I think, a month or 2 to actually go pick it back up and finish it. Like, I devoured the first 2 books. You couldn't get me away from, that was it. It was like, once I started, I didn't stop until those 2 books were finished. I did nothing else. So I'm not going to do any spoilers, and it is 3rd in the series, but I'm just going to tell you what annoyed me. Now, Poppy, sweetheart, darling, I wanted to slap you. I really did. I feel we're getting no character development with Poppy. It's like the one moment you do and you're like, yes, queen, and then the next you're like, oh, for God's sake. So the massive Q&A sessions, which was one of my things I didn't like in the second book, and a lot of people, so much info dumping through Q&A sessions, but it became a bit of a meme that she kept asking Kieran so many questions, and it was fine. I let it go in book 2. We were doing a lot of world building, but book 3, there shouldn't be this much world building we need to do, especially not through a damn Q&A session, and they kept bringing it up. The Poppy likes to ask questions. We know! It's old now. I'm over it. Let's move on. Let's have some character development. Also, Cass, babe, sweetheart, you're my husband, all right? You're my book husband, all right? I love you. What happened? This book started off so strong because the end of book 2, what a cliffhanger. What a way to end a book. 5 stars, applause, standing ovation. Started this book really good, really strong, really just threw you back into it. It was like crazy, wild for the first few chapters, and we regained some. I was like, oh wow, this book, by book 3, this should be just action-packed now. I mean, she ain't a small girl. She's not. She's 562 pages. Then in the middle, it goes into a huge slump. It didn't need to be this long. The middle is that the start was so strong, and then suddenly it just stopped. It was boring, 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 nothing happening, nothing happening, nothing happening. And then suddenly at the end it was like, it picks up again, and then she leads off with a big cliffhanger for the next book. And Cass, what happened to you, man? You were the dominant, strong, warrior, badass, husband of my dreams. And in this one, you just turned into a suck. I was like, Cass, man, where is your backbone? Look, support your woman. I understand. Support her through everything. But there was something about Cass that was just, he was so soppy and annoying. And I swear, if they have this joining, I'm burning the books. It doesn't need to happen. Is it called the joining? Oh my God, I can't remember now. You know what I mean. No, I'm on the no side of it. No, no, no. If she doesn't, no, just don't do it, okay? Are you pro or against? Is it the joining? Why do I feel like that's not right? I think it is, the joining. You know what I mean if you're... Anyway, so yeah, I have pre-ordered the next book, of course, and I pre-ordered the other series that is an accomplishment, whereas Ashes, the Ambers or something. Ambers? 2 Amber, I don't know. Anyway, I will pre-order because I really hope she redeems herself, but I'm scared to read the next book. Anyway, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Those are just some books I read lately that disappointed me. I had expectations and they just, you know, weren't met, which is always disappointing, but it's gonna happen. Let me know some disappointing reads you've had recently that were really maybe hyped up, or you thought they started really strong and then they just went downhill really quickly. Let me know down below, and I will see you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Do all of it, do none of it. It doesn't matter. I will still see you next time. All right, bye.